This is the DiPietro, Canty, and Rothenberg podcast.
I'm a big star, you know.
Listen live weekday mornings from 5 to 8 a.m. on 98.7 ESPN in New York, the ESPN app, the TuneIn app, or on your smart speaker.
Hey, Alexa, play ESPN New York 98.7.
Good morning, DCR.
Got the number one pick and a Super Bowl champ with the man they can't seem to stump. Do something dumb, that's an observation. CLT make him need to run.
That's Lawrence Taylor!
I don't marry trash, CMT for short. Wonder if we best, won't you peep the score? Sports Center gonna be top stories of the morning. While you're yawning, grab your coffee, rise and shine with 98.7. This is Drive Time. We provide highlights from your favorite teams. Dave, Chris, and Rick making plenty of picks. It's Rule 76.
Oh, and welcome, everyone. It is Friday, August the 20th, also known in the calendar vernacular as Beach Bash Day for the Michael K. Show. You wake up today, you look outside, supposed to be, not the best weather, but not awful, no rain in the forecast, and you realize you can get out to the Beach Bash in Lake Como today, Bar A, to see Michael, Don, and Peter. And if that's not reason enough to be excited, it's the first time that trio has been together in weeks and weeks. So that's coming your way at 2 o'clock today, but at 5 o'clock right now, I mean, it's DCR, and it's I would be remiss if I didn't say, maybe the way that you enjoy consuming DCR the most. Maybe not, I don't know. But you get Rothenberg all by himself, and we have a lot to do today. The Yankee, it feels like you could almost replay any show this week, and it's going to be similar. Yankees win, Mets lose, questions about the Jets, questions about the Giants, right? I mean, you could have, on Monday, Yankees win, Mets lose, questions about the Jets, questions about the Giants. Tuesday, Yankees win, Mets lose, questions about the Jets, questions about the Giants. Now, Thursday morning was different. Yankees win, Mets win, questions about the Jets, questions about the Giants. But now all is right in the world. Yankees win, Mets lose, real questions about the Jets, questions about the Giants. So let's have our jumping off point be, and we'll do a little baseball today, certainly. We're going to do a lot of NFL today, and I believe, and I've talked to the powers that be here at 98.7 ESPN, I believe we're going to roll out a frenzy. We have not defined the time yet of the frenzy, but I'm thinking maybe either 6:45 or 7:15. RJ, have you, my producer, given much, if any, thought to what time we'll roll out the frenzy today? Or have you not?
I mean, we're usually a 6:45 kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
But if you want to venture into the 7 o'clock hour.
No, I don't know. I mean, that's really uncharted territory for a frenzy in the 7 o'clock hour, and I don't know if it's big enough to stand on its own in that 7 o'clock hour, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. Yeah. Oh, goodness. It's very exciting. I don't know. What do you think? So you think 6:45? You think we're still kind of, we haven't peaked to the 7 o'clock hour yet? Maybe 6:45, and it goes well when we start the regular season. We venture into the 7 o'clock hour.
I think that's possible. I mean, listen, the frenzy I think could stand on its own. I think you could hit the intro right now, and I think the calls would fill up.
I don't believe that to be true.
Oh, I think it's true.
I don't. You think if we frenzied right now that the phone lines just explode?
Yes.
I don't know about that, and I don't know that we should test the fates. I think 6:45 is kind of lock us in. 6:45, I feel comfortable, and we will frenzy at 6:45. RJ, before we get into the Yankees, and we're going to do that in a moment, we are now 1 week away. Yes, 1 week away from Sunday for the big nuptials. And I said to you before the show, I said, is there any chance that at any point you have that moment of, oh, God, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right girl? And you said not even a moment of hesitation. And then I asked you about your beautiful wife-to-be, and you said, well, I don't know. I can't speak for her. I guess that's possible with her. So are you at all nervous? Not that you will have that moment, but that she will have that moment and leave you at the altar uncomfortably with Rick.
That's just me and Rick up there, and all.
Just you and Rick, and I don't know. See, Rick, seasoned, grizzled veteran of the wedding performance, because he is, was ordained by, I believe, the United Life Ministries. Which
all right, here we go, feather.
Yeah, I mean, what happens to me? What happened? Here's a great point. There's 2 points. One, what happens if she decides, you know what? I don't feel it. And leaves you up there with Rick, who probably, with all the weddings he's performed, has never had to be up there solo with the groom when the bride doesn't show.
Everyone does that.
And that's question 1. And then question 2, what happens if Rick performs maybe like he did the Open? What happens if Rick performs everyone does that? What happens if Rick is up there?
Mango in my mouth.
Yeah. What happens if he decides, you know what, he's hungry, needs nourishment, mango in the mouth? What happens if you're there and you're, are you under anything? Is there any? Because in the Jewish religion, there's something called the huppah, which you're under, which is kind of a little home created for the wedding. Are you under anything, or are you just up there with the three of you?
Yeah, there's no home. No,
there's no home. So what happens if you're up there? And Rick says, we're up here on this this flat area with steps leading up to it. What do you call it? And you're like,
when you go to a diner and you can sit up by the flat top, what is that called?
The counter?
Counter?
Yeah, the counter.
Yeah, because you can't envision, we came up here. Everyone, thank you for joining us today.
A lot to get into today.
Yeah, a lot to get into today. We got to get into the nuptials. We got to get into the vows. We got to get into the wedding. We got to get into the party. We got to get into everything. But thank you for joining us on this flat area which we've ventured up to with the stairs. What do you call that? And you're like, the stage? Yeah, that's right, the stage. Like, are you not at all concerned, being his track record is for these kind of mistakes, that could happen next Sunday?
So I'm going to take your 32 questions and parse them down into 2.
Okay.
So,
you know what? Because I'm thorough, and you will see if and when he makes a mistake at the wedding, why I would have been the right choice. But
alarm, stove, refrigerator, freezer.
So one, I guess in the wild and what would be unfortunate event, I'd be up there by myself. I don't know. I think I'd need him to break into like a did it happen in Florida and just kind of take the pressure off.
Do you want me to bring like a some kind of an audio file of did it happen in Florida? So if Ange doesn't show up, you can turn to me and just be like, hit it. And then I just play it. A naked man's body appeared to fall from the sky, right? So at least we can divert our attention.
A man's naked behavior outside of his South Florida home.
Yes.
I just give you the code word, a flamingo.
Yeah. You'll look at me like, caw-caw, caw-caw. I could bring that too.
There's a lot going on.
Yes.
And second, I think what you're alluding to in all of your concerns with Rick, aside from the overall jealousy, is that you're concerned the moment might be too big for him, is what you're telling me.
Listen, here's what I say. Rick had very few moments of playoff hockey, right? He didn't have a lot of playoff experience. I think what he's stepping into really is he's done weddings, but this is like Stanley Cup Game 7.
I think I'm emotionally broken.
And it's a man who's emotionally broken. I mean, what happens if he looks out into the audience? Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals, sees Don LaGreca, knows at any point Don LaGreca could go on just a huge rant about how Rick just doesn't do a good job. What happens if he looks
garbage.
out?
Look at this garbage!
What happened? And God forbid that Don is all drugged up, right? How about that? What happens if he's there? And Don is just, is on his meth, and he's on his acid. We don't know. We don't know what kind of state Don is going to show up in. It's a Sunday. He could be in any kind of a state.
I've taken meth.
Oh, my God.
Right? We don't know. What happens if Rick looks out and gets a pang of nervousness? Why? Because Michael K. He's famous, and Rick has a bizarre affection for Michael. Which
I got some sexy undies.
Sees him and all of a sudden has that moment of, oh God, I'm nervous. What happens if he looks out and sees, hip hop DJ and legend Peter Rosenberg, or looks out at me and says, you know what? Everything is under the microscope right now. Everything is criticized. What happens if the moment, like you said, RJ, is too big?
I don't have that concern. Now, we've been speaking almost every day this week. How thorough he is, I think you're going to be blown away. I really believe that.
Okay. I hope so. For your sake, I hope so. Because I have real concern. And I'm just going to tell you this. If at any point I see you go to kind of the right forearm and call in the closer, I'm going to run right up there and take advantage.
So we have hand signals and we have the code word flamingo.
You say flamingo, and all of a sudden, a naked man's body fell from the sky in Florida.
Now, I hope there's not any ceramic flamingos or anything like that, because then there could be a false start. And
I mean, as long as the walking plant is not involved in the conversation.
What was that called?
And the New York Islanders win! What happens if he does that? Thank you, everybody! A topiary? What's a topiary? Thank you, everybody! We showed up to the nuptials of Ange and RJ! I don't know. It's a concern. It's a concern. All right. What is not a concern is your New York Yankees. Because, RJ, your Yankees are rolling. Another win last night. It doesn't matter if it's Tyone, who you've now, I think it's fair to say you've come to expect, right? Every single time he's out there, you've come to expect a legitimate start from Tyone, who gave you 5 shutout innings, and then in the 6th last night, kind of frustrated you. A couple of hits, 3-run score. But you know what I kind of loved about it? You saw him in the dugout livid. He leaves the game up 6-3, in line for the win, gets the win, and he's furious about it. And the Yankees own the Twins. It's at this point, if I asked you right now, 3 games left in the series, Yankees have won the first game. Do you think they win? Because there's no way you could say they're going to go 2-2 in the series. There's no chance that the Yankees are going to lose 2 of the next 3. If I said to you right now, would you put your money on the Yankees win 3 of 4 or sweep the 4-game set? I think I'd almost say Yankees sweep the 4-game set. Like, they're playing at that clip, and they have played so well. Even when they're not playing well, they always play well against the Twins. But you're getting production from everyone. They actually have a kid on the team who hails from the Bronx, whose father is a police detective, who is living at his parents' home at the moment, Andrew Velasquez, who's the starting shortstop. And you don't even miss Glaber, right? He's a better defensive player, and offensively, at the moment, he's terrific. So that's for starters. Higashioka, another home run. Stanton, laser home run. Bullpen, nice enough job. The Yankees are rolling. And I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. And I heard like Carlin, the ebbs and flows, and this is a good portion, but it could fall back, and they could be, not the same team at some point. I don't know. I got to tell you, right now, if I had to power rank the American League, I'm going Rays 1, Yankees 2. And there's not that much of a differentiation between the two. I'm going Rays 1, right behind them on their heels, Yankees 2. You say, well, how could you do that? And I understand that the Rays have had the Yankees number. I get it. They beat them last year. They've gotten the best of them this year. They haven't seen this Yankees team, A, for starters, and B, let's be honest. When you look at the Rays starting staff, look at what the Rays starting staff was last year in the postseason. It was Morton. It was Snell. It was, what's his face? The guy that's hurt this year. The Glasnow, right? Those 3 guys. Snell traded. Morton gone. Glasnow hurt. So now you're looking at, who are you looking at? And I know that people will say, well, the starting staff doesn't matter all that much. It's not the be-all, end-all, but it still matters. So you're going to start Michael Wacha? You're going to start Shane McClanahan? You're going to start Patino? Like, who is the guy? Nonetheless, forget about the 4 guys if the Yankees take on the Rays. Who is the one guy that they trot out there in their starting staff and you're like, that guy really worries me? The Rays as a whole worry you because they're so well managed and they're so efficient and their bullpen is so good. But who is the guy that starts for them that you look at and you say, yeah, that really terrifies me? Lineup, maybe. Quality at bat, sure. Bullpen, yes. Not intimidated, absolutely. Almost like a want to play the Yankees to show you're this much money, we're this much money, and you still can't beat us. But starting staff? No. I don't think so at all. All right, 800-919-3776. So we're going to do a little bit of baseball. Obviously, the Yankees. We'll hear from some of the particulars. We'll hear. Did you know there's a guy on the Yankees who actually hails from the Bronx? Father police detective, and is currently living at home as the team is playing at Yankee Stadium. The shortstop, I don't know if you've heard, Andrew Velasquez. We'll hear from him, Higashioka, Tyone, all the particulars in the Yankees win again. That's 7 in a row now for the Yankees. And then the Mets. And the Mets at this point, I think the bigger question, because you can't have the question of, are the Mets done? The Mets are as done as humanly possible. I think for me the question is, do the Mets now give up the rope? Like, are we looking at a team that wins 77 games this year? Right? Are we looking at a team that you can't believe that they limp home to the finish line?
Thanks for listening to the DiPietro, Canty, and Rothenberg podcast.
You're absolutely right.
Catch the show on demand wherever and whenever you want. Just subscribe to us, rate us, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. This is DCR.
I hit the open market, snapped up like that.
If Plan B free agency still existed, you'd probably fall into that category.
I remember Plan B. The Giants got Renee Thompson on Plan B, one of the great special teamers of all time.
You could be Renee Thompson.
I'm not a Plan B free agent. And by the way, for all you ladies out there listening right now, I'm not going to hit the market. But I will say I hit the open market. Very aggressive overtures from many people.
This is DCR.
The Yankees fan is a baby. Tokyo tweets, and this is nice, you're a moron.
On 98.7 ESPN.
Oh, the big 6 o'clock hour, DCR, Rothenberg Solo, 98.7 ESPN. Time now for a little Straight Talk, brought to you by our good friends at Straight Talk Wireless. Our Yankees just continue to roll along. Mets with another loss. Why? They just can't score runs. They put up 1 run last night. We'll get to the Mets a little bit later. Giants, sounds like Andrew Thomas is playing a little better. I guess Jones was kind of hot and cold yesterday in that practice against the Cleveland Browns, but I guess all you want. You'd prefer to your team to play well. And this is just a constant concern. When you watch preseason or your team is involved in practice or whatever it is, what's the one thing that everyone says which could not ring more true? Just don't get hurt. Just get through it unscathed. I mean, God, you're here yesterday, and I heard it, and I was like, this is going to be awful. So Carl Lawson goes down. Apparently was having a phenomenal camp. And when you look at it, probably the Jets' truest edge rusher. Like if there was a guy that could get to the quarterback and win a one-on-one battle, it would have been Carl Lawson. So he goes down in this joint practice against Green Bay. They bring out the cart. Guys are around him praying, and you just know. And soon after yesterday, you learn torn Achilles, out for the year. I mean, just awful. And I know that there are probably some of you that will hear me say this. I'm like, no, it's not true. You don't feel like this. No, I genuinely feel terrible for all parties involved. For the Jets fan, for Lawson, for everybody. And you just see on Twitter, like I see Greeny tweets yesterday, oh no. And you never even, I mean, he was one of your high priced free agents. He was like, your big toy this offseason. Young guy, prime of his career, pay him big money, going to be able to get to the quarterback, looks great, in his mid-20s. I mean, you are in perfect setting to really jumpstart things with Lawson and maybe, Quinnen Williams and C.J. Mosley is back. And you say to yourself, listen, the secondary doesn't look like it's going to be good, but the front seven should be pretty good. And then to have him go down is just, it is just awful. You feel terrible about it. B, it's a big loss. And C, does he, I mean, you hate to even throw this out there, but I mean, a torn Achilles. How long does that take to recover from? Like, do you see the A-level version of Carl Lawson next year? You just might not. Just sick. Absolutely sick. So we'll get into the Jets a little deeper, and there's a take that I have that I want to kind of run by you guys, and we will in a moment. But, it sounds like Mekhi Becton is not playing well this training camp. But again, you take everything with a grain of salt, but just terrible. Really awful news. Matt in Queens. Matt, you're next up on 98.7 ESPN. what's happening here. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Dave. How are you?
Oh, there you are. I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Listen, the Jets are imploding kind of like right in front of our eyes with the Lawson injury. I just feel like Mekhi Becton, what's wrong with the guy? I was listening to Rich Cimini yesterday, and he said the Jets secondary has played the least amount of snaps as a unit of any unit in the NFL. I can't believe the Jets don't have an experienced quarterback. I mean, just handing the job to Zach Wilson with no competition.
You know what, Matt? I wish I could disagree with you, and this is a weird thing to say. I think you're right. Like I'm concerned, and I wasn't, but I'm actually starting to get concerned. Of all the things you said, listen, Lawson, freak injury. Although I don't know if you feel like this. I kind of feel like like an Achilles is if it happens, it was going to happen. Like you say, God, so unfortunate this happened. But with the Achilles, at least, I've always felt like the thing is on the verge of snapping, and when it goes, it goes. ACL is different. ACL could just be like a bizarre hit or a strange, twist of the knee or whatever. But the Achilles, when it's going to go, it's going to go. So Lawson, not good, certainly. You still have talent on defense, but the secondary is not going to be good. And you thought to yourself, the front seven should be good, and maybe will mask some of the issues with the secondary. The Mekhi Becton thing comes out of nowhere to me, because last year when he was healthy, and I think that would be, if you would have said, coming into training camp or into this year, which is, by the way, 3 weeks away from Sunday, people, 3 weeks away from Sunday, I would have said, I just, health-wise, I worry about Becton, because he seemed to be banged up a lot of last year, missed a little bit of time, so that would concern me, but never once did I think that you wouldn't see a terrific left tackle, and from all accounts, he's just not playing that well. Let's take a listen to Mike LaFleur, Jets offensive coordinator, on what exactly is going on with Mekhi Becton at the moment.
Mekhi's going through some things right now. He's not playing at his best, and he knows that. But at the same time, kind of like I was just saying with all the pass protection, how it takes all 11. Mekhi, he didn't have a training camp last year. He didn't have an OTAs this last May and June. So he's still working through some things. I got all the confidence in the world in Mekhi, because one, I know how talented he is, and two, he's a good dude, and he's going to work through all this stuff. We got a long way to go across that whole front, across this whole offense, and myself included. He'll keep on going. We're only one preseason game in, so we still have over 3.5 weeks until we go out and play Carolina, and every day there's still slight improvements that he's making, and we're just trying to take it one day at a time right now.
I get it, but you can't feel great about it. I mean, that would have been the excuse for last year. Going into last year, if he would have said there was no off-season workouts, there was no preseason games, there was no OTAs, you'd say to yourself, well, rookie year, like that's the Andrew Thomas excuse. You could say that's why Andrew Thomas wasn't good year one. Becton was good year one, in spite of all those things. The fact he didn't have like a legitimate training camp, and they didn't have preseason games, and they didn't have OTAs, and they didn't have rookie minicamp. They didn't have any of those things, and he was still good in year one. So to have that conversation as we're about to start year two seems strange to me, because I would think that you would just assume that you're good year one, you didn't have any of these things, you'd be better year two, A, you have a year of experience, and B, now you do have those things. So, again, he's got to be okay. Like, we can't have a situation where Becton is not good. And that kind of brings me to my next point. DCR 98.7 ESPN presented by Progressive Insurance. What are they doing with Zach Wilson? I'm okay with the fact that they are handing the keys to the car to this kid and saying, this is your baby, run with it. But what happens if week one, Zach Wilson goes out and is awful, which is well within possibility, that Zach Wilson goes out and is just, like, let's be fair, is dreadful. What happens if, in fact, that's the case? Where do I go now? Do I turn my attention to Mr. Morgan? Do I turn my attention to Mr. White? Like, what do I have? I don't have anything. So I think I like Joe Douglas, but I got to be honest. Sitting here and looking at the fact that I don't have a backup, I don't think what the Giants have either, right? Like, I don't like Mike Glennon. I'm not a fan of that. Clayton Thorson was god-awful. They bring in the kid that went to Michigan State. But here's the thing. They're all in on Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones has 2 years of experience. If he gets hurt, I'm upset at what they have. But it's all Daniel Jones. You're putting every single ounce of pressure, everything that you have, on Zach Wilson, who has never started a game in the NFL. And if he's not good, where do you turn? This kid needs a break. Where do I go? Sam Darnold needed a break. Sam Darnold had the ankle injury. And you know what? The backup quarterback comes in and he gets a rest. You don't have that now. There's no one on this roster that you can turn to with any certainty and say, we're going to move in this direction. It's a major problem. And I got to be honest, I think this is a major issue with Joe Douglas. I think that he messed up. Now, is there a chance that by the time the opening game starts that you have that in place? I guess it is. You know, maybe you wind up with just someone that you have a little more confidence in. Maybe you wind up making a deal. Maybe you bring in Nick Foles. I don't know. But to look right now at what this team has at quarterback and to say you feel good about it, how can you? Really? Can you look at this thing right now and say to yourself, yeah, you know what, Zach Wilson and nothing else behind him, I feel good about that? I wouldn't. It almost feels, guys, like the Jets, and maybe I'm wrong and maybe this is premature, but like the Jets are heading down a very slippery slope at the moment.
Thanks for listening to the DiPietro, Canty, and Rothenberg podcast.
I don't wake up at 4 a.m. to wear a swim shirt.
Looking for more access to the show? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DCR on ESPN.
RJ, we are doing a football frenzy at 6:45 this morning. Is that correct? That's what you had told me. Football frenzy, 6:45. Raymond, that still holds true, yes?
Going with it.
RJ.
That's right.
You have said that you guarantee at any hour of any day, phone lines explode when the frenzy hits.
I think you could get on the air when you're not even scheduled to and just say football frenzy, play the open, and play that crazy guy.
So you think middle of the night, Saturday night, 2:45, you just hear, blah, 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 right? And all of a sudden I pop in and people line up for the frenzy. I
think it's, even if you have the radio on the background, it's like it's to go back to what you were saying earlier, it's like the bat signal. People are just like, oh my goodness, it's frenzy time.
So you look at it as like a Pavlov's dog kind of thing.
That's right.
You hear the frenzy and you just, and you like turn.
It's instinctual.
You turn to the radio and you run to the phone and you call and you want to be involved.
That's right.
Right. So you hear the bat signal and you're like, there's trouble.
It's the signal. It's the bat signal.
It's the signal.
People just turn out in droves.
Mm-hmm. All right, I like what you're thinking. We'll see if it, in fact, is as effective as you say it is. Frenzy, 6 minutes away, 800-919-3776. Shaquem in Newburgh. Shaquem, you're on 98.7 ESPN.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, Shaquem.
Yes. Now, I got two topics I want to touch with you, buddy. The Zach Wilson topic about the Jets not getting a backup quarterback and just throwing them out there.
Yep.
I see it like this, buddy. Okay, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. You know, Zach Wilson's a number 2 pick. You draft them at number 2. You draft them to play.
I get it, but here's the thing. I mean, the intent, if you remember last year with Justin Herbert, was to do what? Do you remember?
No.
Hang on, Shaquem. Hang on. It was to start Tyrod Taylor. Remember? He was supposed to start the season and be your quarterback for the first X amount of games before they punctured the guy's lung with an injection. Do you remember that?
Right. You're right.
So this is a guy, I understand he's the number 2 pick, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have tremendous expectations for him, but not to have, I mean, they don't have a backup quarterback that has ever taken a snap in the NFL. How is that okay? How is that fine to do to the guy? Seems crazy. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I watched Joe Burrow last year, and he was ready, and he was terrific. And never once did I watch Joe Burrow and think to myself, you know what? It seems like they've dropped him in the deep end and he can't swim. I never thought that. I think there's a realistic chance that happens when it comes to Zach Wilson. That you say to yourself, you know what? Just let's take him out of this game. He's having a bad game. Let's bench him for a game or two and let him watch and see the speed of the game. You do not have that option. That is not something you can do. Let's go to Doc. RJ, is this South River? Saddle River? What river is this man calling?
South River.
What river?
The South.
South River?
South River, New Jersey. You're not familiar
I'm not familiar with South River. Doc, good morning. How you doing? Doc? Oh, no. I see what you've done. You butchered where he's from, and he took offense, and now he hung up.
There's no butchering South River. South River's a real... Drew Pearson and Joe Theismann are from South River.
Oh, Drew Pearson. He somehow got into the Hall of Fame. You hear about that?
I did.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
No, not even a little bit. So, was that man an actual doctor, do you think?
I'm sure he's just called Doc.
Well, I don't know.
Although he might be a doctor. It's possible.
I mean, there's like docs, like Dr. J, not a medical doctor. Doc Ellis, I do not believe a medical doctor, although he went to the Don LaGreca School of Drug Abuse.
Rick's father-in-law is called Doc, right?
But Rick's father-in-law is a doctor.
Right.
So it could go either way. I would think if you're a man like well into your 30s or 40s and your nickname is Doc, that you have some lineage to a medical degree.
You have some sort of a plaque on your wall that identifies you as a doctor of some sort.
You would, right? Like if you're in your 30s or 40s and people call you Doc and you have never been to medical school, never performed a surgery, are not a doctor, you don't think that's odd?
You'd call the guy a fraud.
I think you'd have to. Unless he was like one of the, like, what was the movie Catch Me If You Can, right? Where he pretended to be a doctor, wasn't in fact a doctor. If you had that, like if you snuck into the operating room, performed a surgery with no medical background at all, and picked up from your friends the nickname Doc, I think that becomes well deserved.
Well, I think that would be even more of a fraud, no? Because then you're actually performing fraudulent
Yeah, but at least that would be the
activities.
genesis of being called Doc. I would respect that.
You'd probably be in jail.
If they caught you.
If they caught you.
I mean, they caught, what was the guy's name? Frank Abagnale, I believe, in Catch Me If You Can. Spent years in jail and then got out and now works for the FBI.
Possible.
Helped catch people just like him. You've seen that movie, right?
That was Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Yeah. Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio. Terrific movie. I'm very well versed in movies.
Yes, you are.
You can't deny that. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. All you have to do is visit Progressive.com. Let's go to Nick in Huntington. Nick, good morning. You're next up on 98.7 ESPN.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. What's going on, Nick?
So I want to get your thoughts on whether or not Joe Douglas and his hard stance on players' values is going to make or break this Jets team. And what I bring up as a reference is his value for a player like Marcus May and not wanting to pay him, and whether or not he believes certain backup quarterbacks are worth their asking prices. How's that going to impact the Jets this year?
I don't know that it'll impact the Jets this year. Listen, Nick, I think it's fair to say the jury is still out on Joe Douglas. Excuse me. I do have a positive feel about Joe Douglas, but I still think it's too early to tell. I mean, he took over a job that was unmanageable with a head coach that was, just absolutely terrible. And now he's starting to put his pieces into place. So I am feeling much better. Let's go to Doc. And have you ever heard of this, RJ? South River. Good morning, Doc. You're on 98.7 ESPN. So the question we had surrounding you, before we even start, how old are you?
52.
All right, if you're not an actual doctor, that'd be very strange.
I am feeling much better.
Do me a favor.
Right.
Do me a favor. Turn the radio down wherever you are, so you and I can have a conversation.
How's that?
Much better. So are you, in fact, a medical doctor?
No.
Oh. So why do we call you Doc?
I am a retired officer.
You're a retired what? Oh, an Army.
medic.
All right, well, I think that's fair. I think you get called Doc if you're a retired Army medic. Good for you, and thank you for your service.
Okay.
Okay. Now that we've established that, Doc, what's on your mind?
I really don't know what to think. I was the person I talked to when I first called in. I was kind of alluding to avoiding a toxic situation with quarterbacks that are out there that are still starters in the league. They're still trying to be starters in the league. The other thing is the staff out in San Francisco. We got things done with people they thought would never do anything in the field. So you got to trust the coaching and you got to trust the program.
Listen, Doc, I am, and thanks for the call. I trust Rob Saleh. I think I completely believe in him, and I believe in Joe Douglas, and I've said that. I buy into what this team has right now. But it doesn't mean that I have to blindly believe what they're doing. I think there can be some reservations about what they're doing, and I think it is a mistake to not have a legitimate veteran backup quarterback. All right, RJ, now we're going to put your theory to the test. Okay? Are you ready for this?
I've been ready.
It is now time. We are now going to do a frenzy. We'll play the open in a moment. But just so you know, no, hey, Dave, how you doing? No pleasantries. You walk in, you ask your question, I answer the question, we say good day, and we move on. This is not I was an Army medic and I spent years in Nam or nothing like that. I forgot we had a baby. Okay? You get right into your question. If people call at all, which I question, which RJ does not question. 800-919-3776. Raymond, if you will.
It's time for a frenzy. A football frenzy.
You could say that 10,000 times and it still wouldn't be enough. It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
A football frenzy. Any team, any player, any question.
All right. You know how it works. You call, you ask anything. You need to know fantasy, have at it. You need to know over-unders in gambling, the floor is yours. The Giants and their offensive line, yes. The Jets and their quarterback situation, also on the table. The Cardinals, the Niners, any team you have a question about, now would be the time you pick up the phone and you call. 800-919-3776. It's rapid fire. We get in, we get out. Here we go. 800-919-3776. Raymond, what happens if they call and they say, hey, Dave, how you doing? Big fan. Just adore. That's right. And we are almost to the regular season, people. Let's get to it. Brian, Bergen, Frenzy, go.
When the Broncos beat the Giants week 1 and Drew Lock outplayed Daniel Jones, are you going to leave your house and go to the hotel?
No, I will not. I will be angry. There will be no leaving of the home. There will be no punching through a wall. None of that. But I do appreciate you checking on me. Very, very kind. Let's continue along here. Anthony Garrow, he's one of these fraudulent Cowboys fans. If Dak is healthy all season, do all three of Cooper, Gallup, and Lamb go for over 1,000 yards? They could. I would say they won't. I think 2 of the 3 go well over 1,000 and 1 stays below. And I would guess the one is Gallup that stays below. Let's go to Sal, our guy in Dutchess. Let's see if he does it the right way. Sal, you're on the frenzy.
Hello?
Sal.
Oh, hi, Dave.
Forgot. Forget it. Forget it. I'm not doing this. We've established the rules. Get on, ask your questions, and then be done. And that's it.
I know you'll get it.
This is not brain surgery. Anthony, show him how it's done. Anthony and Brick, you're on the frenzy.
The Raiders make the playoffs.
No. I don't think the Raiders' defense is good enough. As I've stated, and factually there, the AFC it's really, really good. And there's a ton of really good football teams. I don't think the Raiders are even second best in their division. I think the Chargers are are a better team than the Raiders. And I think there's a chance. I actually think, I will say this, and Santi, you can clip it and we can play it back. I think there's a better chance, I could be wrong, a better chance the Raiders finish fourth in the division than they make it to the postseason. 800-919-3776. James Napoleon, and congratulations on your dessert. It is sensational. Do you think Joe Douglas won the Jamal Adams trade, or it still remains to be seen? It remains to be seen. Let me see what they do with the picks that they got for Adams. We're not there yet. Let's go to Chris in Hoboken. Chris, you're next up on the Frenzy.
Dave, who would you pick second overall in a fantasy football draft, 10-team PPR? Thanks.
I would take Dalvin Cook. I feel best about him. Third, I would take Kamara. One would be McCaffrey. 800-919-3776. Frank Bergen, Frenzy, go.
If the Jets hung on to Sam Darnold in the offseason, what would their win projection be? And does that make them a playoff team right now?
No, my God, no. No. Sam Darnold might stink. We still don't know what Sam Darnold is. A playoff team? No. The Jets would probably be a, 7-win team? God, oh my God, no. Do you think the Jets are a mediocre quarterback away from being a playoff team? Lunacy. Kevin and Kearney. Kevin, you're on the Frenzy.
Hey, in what order do you take the first 5 positions of a fantasy football draft?
So you want like running back 1, receiver 2 is what you're saying? Oh, he's gone. All right. Now, here's the thing. I can't honestly, you're going to say it's a cop-out. It depends who's available at your spot. If Travis Kelce is there 12 and all the elite running backs are gone, I would probably look to him. So I don't think it's a fair question, to be honest with you. If you're picking early, I think you go running back, and then, if Devontae Adams is there early, you could go with him. I think Kelce is a late first-round guy. I would say that running back is the number 1 position I would go for, but there's instances where I wouldn't, and that quarterback for the most part is the last position that I would go for. Scotty in Brooklyn. Scott, you're on the Frenzy.
Second overall pick and 14 men half PPR league.
I still would go with Dalvin Cook. I think Dalvin Cook is your second best fantasy player this year. Tony in Florida. Good morning, Tony. You're on the Frenzy.
Good morning. Hey, is it worth drafting any Giants receiver this year football?
Boy, I can barely hear the question. I think he said if I'm taking any Giants receiver in fantasy football, I think it's Kenny Golladay has to be the guy. Has to be. Followed by Shepard, followed by Slayton. And I don't know what's going on with Kadarius Toney, but to say I'm beginning to get a little bit annoyed, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why he hasn't suited up. There was an issue from the jump, and you've barely seen any of this kid. So the time is now. Sean in North Carolina. Sean, you're on the Frenzy.
Will Zach Wilson play all 16 games?
Will he start all 17 games? No. No, I don't think. See, the problem is, who starts if he doesn't start now? But I think the answer is no, he does not. Chris and Bethpage. Chris, you, my friend, are on the Frenzy.
Salah, Douglas, Wilson, Judge, Jones, Gettleman. Who stays with their organization the longest?
It's got to be of the trio or one piece of that trio. He's gone. Santi, what would you say? Of the trio, the entirety of the trio, or one piece of the trio?
Well, allegedly, Gettleman's seat is a little hotter than everyone else's.
Right,
so
very hot. I think, listen, I think in order, it goes the hottest seat, Gettleman, followed closely by Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I think the Giants trio.
Rob Saleh hasn't even coached a game yet. Mm-hmm. Zach Wilson hasn't even played a game yet. So I would say those two, followed by Joe Douglas. And then no one else the seat is even warm. No one else is the seat even warm. By the way, I got to tell you a story about a hot seat, and I'll tell you in just a moment. Let's go Corey in Greenwich, New York. Corey, you're on the Frenzy.
Greenwich.
I think I do that every time, too. Go ahead, Corey.
New York Jets. Can Carl Lawson be replaced?
I mean, he can be replaced. I don't think you'll replace the numbers that he would have put up for you, but someone will fill in for his spot. And I mean, let's be honest, they're going to have to. They're going to have to be capable at getting to the quarterback. So if it means maybe you send more guys, but if you don't get to the quarterback and you have that secondary, I don't know. I do not see very good things on the horizon. All right, Santy, blow it dead. That's pretty good, RJ. Your hypothesis was correct. We do a frenzy. People call. That's what
we could have gone on for another half hour.
Maybe we'll do it an entire hour in the 7 o'clock hour of the frenzy.
Let's do a whole show.
A whole frenzy?
Yeah.
You're asking for a lot.
Thanks for listening to the DiPietro, Canty, and Rothenberg podcast.
You're absolutely right.
Catch the show on demand wherever and whenever you want. Just subscribe to us, rate us, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. This is DCR.
Last we left you, it's like at the end of a two-part show, right? Last we left you, Batman was in tremendous trouble. Was Robin able to help him out of that trouble? Did the Joker find his way? Or did Batman escape? Last we left you, we were concerned about one Zach Wilson. Are they throwing this young quarterback into the fire way too early? I love Batman.
This is DCR.
Last we left you, Jets fans were anxious. Kapow.
On 98.7 ESPN.
Nice job by the fellas. 800-919-3776. DCR 98.7 ESPN, presented as always by Progressive Insurance. You know, RJ, I think I do this well. I'm not afraid to embarrass myself in a story. And I think that adds to people really falling in love with me. How do you feel about that?
I think that's true. And you don't hold anything back. Your stories off the air are the stories on the air. Whereas, you talk about Rick, well, I mean, he would get in trouble with...
Yeah, he'd be fired.
Yeah, he can't... I mean, there's a different reason he can't tell us.
The FCC would probably come after him.
He would love to tell them, I'm sure. But your stories are of the ilk where they're the same. They play anywhere.
I have another story for you, which as it happened, I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, the guys are going to love this," and I forgot. And now I will tell you the story. So we went up to Lake George a couple weeks ago. Lake somehow Ray Santiago didn't know existed until
bougie Lake George.
Stop it! I mean, it's Lake George. There are bougie parts. Many more of the parts are actually, in fact, somewhat seedy. I think you would say. But RJ, you would agree, having never heard of Lake George is just embarrassing, right? Be honest. Having never heard of Lake George is embarrassing.
Yeah, that's troubling.
All right? Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna need your full undivided attention. I'm gonna need participation during the story. Okay?
Okay, I'm with you.
So we're going up to Lake George, and we're traveling up. So we go from Westchester, and we're up on the Taconic, and I'm in the car, and I'm like, boy. I'm really hot. Like I'm not feeling great. I'm warm. I'm hot. I'm uncomfortable. It's summer. It's hot out. But I put the air on. Put the air on like 62, and I put it on like the third
Just
level.
get naked.
Yeah, I could have, but I wasn't wearing much to begin with. It was shorts and a cotton like thin T-shirt. Why wear pants? I'm sweaty. I'm just sweating. I'm like, it's so hot. I put the air conditioning on 4. And we continue to drive, and I'm listening to the radio. I'm like, boy, if I was a woman in my 50s, I would think maybe I'm going through the change. Like, I'm so hot. Maybe, like the shower didn't take this morning. My back it's drenched. This is uncomfortable. We continue to drive, and finally we pull over, and I get gas. And Sherry turns to me, and she says, you've had the seat heater on the entire time so far. Aren't you hot?
So you know what's funny is I had that same exact thing happen to me literally this week. However, it only lasted for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But not because I realized, I said the same thing. I am warmer than usual. This is nuts.
I am so hot. But here's the thing. Go ahead.
Well, for me, I looked down and I said, wait, those lights aren't usually on, like on that's how I recognized it. Not because I put it together. I said, those lights are not usually on. I said, I hit the wrong lights.
So I am sweating from the brow. I can feel the back of my shirt is just, it's drenched. But here's the issue in mind. We're driving my wife's car. She's always cold. So this savage woman in July had the heat seater on and didn't turn it off as we're making the venture up to Lake George. So I am sweltering. Oh, it was unbelievable. I'm talking about like an hour and a half. And finally, I'm just like, God. And she turns to me like I'm the idiot. She's like, you have the heat seater on. I'm like, it's your car. You left it on, and I don't know if she did it on purpose or not.
Now, I will say, though, outside of the radio, to listen to fine programs like this, I will say the heat seater might be my second favorite accessory in the car.
Behind what?
The radio.
Oh, behind the radio.
You need that.
Yeah, you need the radio.
The speakers,
I think you're way off. The second most important piece of the car, without fail, the air conditioning.
See, but in the summer, you could put the air, you put the windows down and at least get some ventilation.
But if you're wearing a winter jacket, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, but
you're still going to freeze.
But if in the winter, if you're cold and there's no seat warmer, you're relying solely on the heat, and if that stinks or is even average, you're done. You're done.
See, I look at brakes as something that I find to be more important than the heat.
But no, that's not an accessory. That's an essential.
You need that in the car. The car doesn't have brakes, you're not going to get very far.
So what are the accessories we're talking about? What are my options that I could choose from? The radio.
Right. I would say things like the radio, any kind of audio speaker related. I would say seat warmer. Okay. I would say air conditioner. I would say the lane changing little light or notification, which comes in pretty handy.
The blind spot monitor.
Monitor.
Oh, that's nice. But that feels like it's newer.
Yeah, it is.
But it didn't always have the blind spot monitor.
How about the sunroof? How about the
how about the camera?
Backup
rear view camera.
Yep, backup cam.
I got to be honest, and I don't know if you guys do. I don't even turn my head anymore.
No, I don't either, and I think it's a bad habit.
I think it's a terrible habit, but you know what? I'm looking in the rearview camera, the rearview mirror thing that we have there, and I'm going full speed. I'm going.
I actually get mad when people are back there.
If you're in my way, you know what? There's a chance that you're in trouble.
Like in the past, you would say, "Oh my goodness, good thing I saw that person." Now it's like you're watching television for a brief moment, and I'm judging it. I'm saying,
so you would go heat over anything else?
I think so. Heat in the seat warmer.
I'm with him, and you know where I really got an appreciation for that over the past year when you wake up at 1-2 in the morning and it's 10 degrees or less outside.
It's Lambeau Field out there.
And thank goodness for the auto starter, where I don't actually have to.
I don't even have the auto starter.
Yeah, thank goodness for that.
That's an accessory
that is connected to the heated seat, so that when it gets below a certain temperature, the heated seat already is on by the time I get in the car. It's fantastic.
That is lovely. How do you guys feel about these self-driving cars like the Tesla that can drive you home on your own?
I would not trust it.
I wouldn't trust it either.
I've seen them on the West Side Highway. I saw a guy in a Tesla, and he was. It was weird because it was accelerating really slow, and then as I pulled up past
you realize he wasn't part of the process.
The guy was sitting in the front seat laid back with his arms crossed.
Well, that can't be legal. Yes. There's no way that you could be sleeping in the front seat of the car. Now, here's where my mind goes. Is this legal? You're at a party, you're drunk, you get into the Tesla, you're like, boop, 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 program where it's going to take you, and then it just takes you home, and you're sitting there in the passenger seat and you're inebriated. That's a DUI or DWI, right?
I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that's a no-no. I'm pretty sure that's still going to give you a DUI.
But how is it okay that the guy's sitting in the passenger seat and the car is driving itself?
I don't have the answers, Dave.
No, it can't be okay.
We've got to get Elon Musk on the phone, talk to him about these things.
Can you know what I would like right now? And I know that they listen, and I'm big fans of the police officer. All right, especially the Scarsdale Police Department, who loves the burgle of the home drop. If you are in your Tesla, and you're sitting in the driver's seat and you're inebriated and it's driving you and you're not involved in any of the machinations of driving, is that in fact illegal? And can you get pulled over for that? 800-919-3776. Because in theory, could you get in the car, sleep in the back, and have the thing take you home?
I mean,
like an Uber?
My understanding is that if you're sitting in the car, even if it's parked, like not even talking about the self-driving aspect of it, but like if you're in the car and the car's on and you're inebriated behind the wheel, the car could just be in park and you never moved it. You can still get a DUI.
You can. Now that's your understanding, but I would like someone of the law enforcement ilk to call in and in fact, confirm that. 800-919-3776. And of course, we've got to get back to the Yankees, and let's do that. And let's bring in maybe my best friend down in St. Petersburg, Spike. Good morning, Spike.
I am your best friend, St.
I
Petersburg.
think so.
Yeah, listen, I think the Tesla, I'm not sure. I'll check with my kid. He's a cop. I think in the Tesla they have the auto device that they put on people who've had DUIs. You blow into it and that passes through the system and allows you to start the car.
There's a breathalyzer built into the Tesla?
It won't start.
I got to tell you, Elon Musk is always a step ahead of me. He's terrific.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I'll double check with him and I'll tell you tomorrow, unless someone calls in. Here's what I got to say about the Yankees and the Mets, and I'm flummoxed with this whole idea about peaking and ebbs and flows. I don't think the Yankees could go very far with their patched-up team, which is starting to heal beautifully. But this story with this young man, Velasquez, out of Fordham Prep.
Did you know he's from
Fordham?
Fordham? Did you know that?
Of energy, and man, when he put the burners on yesterday to get that triple.
Am I not audible for Spike? Spike, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking to you, and you're just running right through me. Did you know that Andrew Velasquez went to Fordham?
Fordham Prep, I thought.
Yeah, Fordham Prep, and he went to Virginia Tech, which you don't hear about very often. Also, his father, police detective. Did you know that?
I didn't realize he was that old. I think he had a cup of coffee with a few teams.
Oh, I think he's like 27 or 28 years old, yes.
Yeah, yes. And you got the college already, so I won't ask you that tomorrow.
Very good. Well, thanks for the call, Spike. Nice call. Touched on a lot of different things.
Thanks for listening to the DiPietro, Canty, and Rothenberg podcast.
I have nothing left.
Hear more of DiPietro, Canty, and Rothenberg live weekday mornings from 5 to 8 a.m. on 98.7 ESPN in New York, the ESPN app, the TuneIn app, or on your smart speaker.
Hey, Alexa, play ESPN New York 98.7.